You touched on the Alberta separatist sort of sentiment that's growing, and that parade was marching, I think, long before the election, and the writing was on the wall. I think it's the lack of pipelines and the inability for Albertans to get their resources to oil or their resources to market, coupled with a lot of other, I think, Western cultural issues, and I say Western not as in the Western world, but I think Western Canada. I would suggest that we have equally as distinct a culture here in the West as they do in Quebec. We're founded by different sorts of people. We have a different mentality when it comes to our resources, our industry, and freedom. We're overwhelmingly voting Conservative. Andrew Scheer saw an increase in his vote share. He won the popular vote, but that's not because he was picking up votes in other parts of the country. It's because in places like Lakeland and in places like Fort McMurray, people came out in droves so that, it's anywhere from 70 to 80%. Like in my riding, which is largely an urban riding, Garnet Genis got nearly 80% of the vote. It People in Alberta are voting to send a message, and they don't think the federal government is listening. And I don't think Jason Kenney can contain what's happening. The parade's already marching. The problem is it's sort of divided and it doesn't have a leader. And if it sort of coalesces around a leader, I think people are going to have a real tough time tutting Conservatives and telling them, like, this is just wishful thinking. What do you think?
Well, so when it comes to Quebec, I find Alberta separation quite an interesting topic, because when it comes to Quebec was trying to leave because they wanted more. Give us more, right. Give us more. And they got more. They got a lot more. Alberta's trying to leave because they're not letting us give more. It's a weird, we're leaving because hypothetically, if we were to leave, it would be because they don't allow us to prosper. They're basically, it's the strangest relationship. It actually feels abusive. Yeah. It feels like you're dating someone who's just really ripping you apart and taking advantage of you, and they don't care what happens to you. As long as they're, if the government's borrowing money and propping up their economy, they have jobs. They don't care what's happening to Albertans. They don't care about people losing their homes. I was watching, actually, I'll give Nemchi credit. I don't know the reporter's name, but she was the one that was in that picture with Gerald Butts a little while ago.
Althea Raj.
I think it was her. I don't know for sure, but it was on a panel, and the same panel, and she's like, well, we're knocking on doors, and people in Alberta don't believe about climate change and blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, whoa, wait a minute here. Albertans care about a lot of things. So bottom line is Alberta, we carry this country even now in our wounded state. We carry the economy of the entire country, and the rest of the country, for somehow reason, they're quite okay with us doing that, more ways than one. And they don't want to help us. And it's just the strangest disconnect. And, we are the second largest country in the world landmass wise, with one of the smallest populations. And I think we're so spread out that, people feel, I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying, Oilsands Strong is doing well, and I've got some plans, but it's hard when you feel such a divide, and they don't quite understand what we're going through. And frankly, I don't think they care.
That's an excerpt from my weekly show, The Gun Show. It's an interview-based show that I do every Wednesday night, where I talk to conservative journalists, filmmakers, activists, even citizen newsmakers. However, the show is only available to our premium subscribers, but it's easy enough to subscribe. Just go to premium.rebelnews.com.